Can everyone tell me what the following things have in common? Money, pizza, COVID-19, Egyptian pyramids, and philosophy. Okay, let's start with money and pizza. Here's another question. What's a better value? A small 20 centimeter margarita or a large 30 centimeter one? Well, if I know the simple formula for area equals pi r squared, we can work out that the area of a smaller pizza is 312 centimeters squared, and for the larger one, it's 706 centimeters squared. That's almost double.
Now that's a bargain. I could eat half now and save the rest for tomorrow's lunch.
Or you could share it. But look, money and pizza aside, what does all this have to do with COVID-19, the pyramids, or philosophy? I don't see the pattern.
Actually, that's exactly what they have in common. Patterns and the mathematical language we use to describe them. Patterns occur everywhere in nature. We see them in the symmetry of a leaf, the spiral in a snail's shell, and the waves in the sea. Patterns govern all sorts of things, from the formation of rocks and the paths of rivers to the tides, reproduction, and natural selection. Numbers are the language which humans have developed to count, measure, and label these natural phenomena. Different cultures have used different words or symbols, but the process of counting seems to be universal. Mathematical patterns follow a sequence. For example, if we count 2, 4, 6, 8, we know we are counting by twos, and the next number will be 10. This is just one of the many number patterns, and we use them all the time in daily life. It seems that the human brain is hardwired to look for patterns in numbers. Jerrad, can you tell us about another number pattern?
Sure. So when we were talking about the pizzas, we mentioned pi, which is a number which we often approximate to 3.14. The concept of pi comes from observations of patterns in a circle. There's a common ratio between the width of a circle and the length around it, regardless of the size of the circle, and we've known about this since ancient times. For example, in the Bible, King Solomon's temple had a circular sculpture of the sea 10 cubits from rim to rim. It took a line of 30 cubits to measure around it. This is a reference to an early approximation of pi as 3. The actual number pi can't be completely measured as the decimals go on infinitely. However, the Great Pyramid of Giza is said to have been built on the ratio of pi. We know this because half the perimeter of the pyramid's base divided by its height equals 3.1419, a much closer estimate of the value of pi. In 2021, with the use of supercomputers, the value of pi was determined to 100 trillion digits. That's not very practical, but we use pi in practical ways in the real world all the time. We use it in calculations for construction, genetics, and sound engineering. So that's pi. Let's look at another number pattern, exponential growth. This pattern explains how a number pattern can increase so quickly, such as the interest on your credit card debt, and why COVID-19 spread so quickly during the pandemic. Over to you, Alissa.
We can look at a simple example to understand the pattern behind exponential growth. How many times would you need to fold a sheet of paper until it gets thick enough to reach the moon? Impossible? Not in theory. If you fold the paper once, it's double the original thickness. Fold it again, and it's 4 times thicker. Keep folding 40 times and you've reached GPS satellite orbit. And at 45 times, you've reached the moon. At that rate of increase, you'd better keep paying that credit card interest. Finally, we mentioned at the start that patterns relate to philosophy. How? Well, modern philosophy raises some interesting questions, like, are patterns real? Or do they only exist because we've agreed on a model of our environment in order to understand it? It might seem a bit out there, but these questions are also asked in quantum physics. We can't exactly leave our heads to get an unbiased view, so does the fact that we are observing patterns to understand physical phenomena from inside the system mean we're biased? These ideas have special relevance when it comes to machine learning and AI. Will AI be limited, like us, by the structure of the programming we give it? Or will it one day be able to see its own patterns? What will that mean for our perception of reality? After all that heavy stuff, let's end on a joke. What do you get when you cross a mathematician and a baker? A well-rounded individual who loves pie.